Hi guys, here it is, the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra. You'll be forgiven for thinking, hey, that's a Samsung S22 Ultra, because in terms of design, not much has changed. There are some slightly flatter sides and a slight reduction on the curve of the display. But just because it looks the same, doesn't necessarily mean that it performs the same. Samsung has tweaked the internals of the S23 Ultra to make it somewhat of an upgrade to its predecessor. Yes, the design itself hasn't changed much. You get the armor aluminum frame in a gold-white color. At the bottom, you have your speaker grille with the SIM card tray. Also not to forget the S Pen slot, which has just been set aside here, as you can see. At the top, you have your microphone, and of course, having stereo speakers, your second sound output is the in-ear speaker. The front and the back are Gorilla Glass Victus 2. The Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra also comes with a 4-camera setup, and this is where one of the biggest upgrades were done. It has a 12-megapixel ultra-wide camera with f2.2 aperture, the all-new 200-megapixel wide main camera with f1.7 aperture, a 10-megapixel periscope telephoto lens with f4.9 aperture and a 10x optical zoom, a 10-megapixel telephoto lens with f2.4 aperture and 3x optical zoom. I will be putting these to the test as the review goes on. It also has a 5000 mAh battery with 45 watts of wired charging, 15 watts of wireless charging, and 4.5 watts of reverse wireless charging to juice up your Galaxy Buds Pro. It also comes in 4 colors: Phantom Black, Green, Lavender, and the one that I have here is Cream. What do we have on the front of the S23 Ultra? Well, we have a 6.8-inch dynamic AMOLED display with a 120Hz variable refresh rate, with a peak brightness of 1750 nits, it's HDR10 Plus certified, at 89.9% screen-to-body ratio, a 19:9 aspect ratio, 3088x1440 resolution at 501 pixel density. In the display settings, you will find your usual toggles: dark mode, adaptive brightness, and if you don't toggle the adaptive brightness on, you get an extra toggle of extra brightness. When it comes to the refresh rate, you get adaptive refresh rate, which will fluctuate between 1 Hz all the way up to 120 Hz depending on the content on the screen. This is a great function or feature for conserving battery. The standard mode is a normal 60 Hz, of which for such a high-end screen, I wouldn't recommend. You can also change the screen resolution from HD+, which is 720p, to Full HD+, which is 1080p, and finally the WQHD Plus mode, which is at 1440p. This will give you the best visuals but will also consume a bit more battery. But for the best content consumption, it is worth that tiny sacrifice. As we all know, Samsung are the kings of displays, and this is them flexing that muscle. And this is not the only place where they decided to flex, because up next, we're going to check out one of the upgrades, which is the camera. Getting into it, as always, we start with the More section, where we get the Pro Video and Pro Camera modes, and all the other fun modes like Director's View and Single Take. But starting it all off, we're going to take a look at the ultra-wide camera. With a 120-degree field of view, you can capture a lot more of the environment. This will be great for those outdoor vista shots, from cliff views to getting all your friends in one shot at the beach. Next is a wide photo from that brand new 200-megapixel main sensor, which produced a very crisp image with a lot of detail, so that even when zoomed, you can see great detail in the background itself. The 2x zoom shot is also amazing, with great detail in the photo from close objects all the way to the background. The 3x zoom shot is no different. Great detail of the objects in the back, like the concrete and the stone features that you can see here. The 10x zoom shot just shows that Samsung having those 2 telephoto lenses has paid off, because the image quality from 2x all the way to 10x zoom is just immaculate. The clarity is great for all these shots. Up next, we have the 30x zoom shot, and this is where Samsung's image processing starts to show a little muscle, keeping the shot crisp and clear. And at 100x zoom, the way it has captured the wording is great, considering that the image looked very weird during capture, with a bit more blur than I expected. The final product just shows how great the image processing is, I know this is not a moonshot, but let's be honest, most of the people will not even use the 30 times and 100 times zoom functionality. The reality is even worse. The 10x zoom may not also be used that much, but knowing that the option is there is always great. Next is the portrait mode. We start with the 3 times zoom portrait photo, and as you can see here, the edge detection is great and the photo is crisp. The 1 times zoom portrait photo is also amazing. The bokeh effect is just amazing, and the edge detection is great considering that the subject being photographed, which is the Galaxy Watch 5 Pro, looks great in both images. Now so far, I haven't said anything about the selfie camera because this is the other big change. Samsung went from a 40 megapixel selfie camera to a 12 megapixel. And it may seem like a downgrade, but testing it out here, you will see that the image quality is still great. Starting with the normal selfie photo, you can see that it's clear, my skin is not over processed, making this an Instagram ready photo. Hashtag no filter. Next is the ultra wide normal selfie, and yet again, the selfie camera performs very well, capturing more of the environment and me with a consistency when it comes to my skin tone. The portrait selfie is also amazing. With great edge detection, you can clearly see that I am the main focus here. Love how the image is being processed. The ultra-wide portrait selfie is also great. Look at the perfect edge detection. Focus is yet again on me and the photo is crisp and clear. Looking at the pictures, the selfie camera is a great contender and is pushing out amazing images. So this seems to be another good change. Next up, we have the video segment, and the first video is the 4K 60 FPS from the main sensor. Let's check it out. This is how the video on the S23 Ultra main sensor looks at 4K 60 FPS. As you can see, it is producing crisp and very clear video. Next is the super steady mode, which uses the ultra wide camera. Now, I am jogging in place, and in parts of the video, I am shaking the actual phone. This mode is great for those times when you want to record your run or a mountain bike ride, or you just have shaky hands. We will now check out the portrait video, which I will say is a good feature. Not many will make use of it as it's capped at 1080p 30 fps. So this is portrait video. Now we have the selfie video. Let's check it out. This is a video quality test for the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra front-facing camera at 4K 60 fps. Then last but not least, we have the portrait selfie video, also at 30 fps 1080p. The audio for this video is terrible, which is not the fault of the phone. But as you guys can see, the edge detection is very good and the quality is also great. The bokeh is consistent even with the motion. Overall, the camera system on the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra is great. The new 200 megapixel ISOCELL HP2 image sensor is an improvement over its predecessor. It can do 16:1 binning for 12.5 megapixel shots, which will give you more dynamic range and clearer images, capturing more light in situations where it is lacking, to ensure that you always capture what you are pointing at no matter the conditions. For great detail, it can also do 4:1 binning to produce 50 megapixel shots. It can also capture XBED RAW images up to 50 megapixel resolution. All in all, the camera system is a welcome upgrade, and in some aspects, Samsung is closing the video quality gap that Apple has. The Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra comes with One UI 5.1, which is Samsung's version of Android 13. Now, like all of Samsung's new smartphones, the S23 Ultra will receive 4 major OS upgrades, meaning it will go from Android 13 all the way to Android 17. It will also get 5 years of security updates. The phone has an IP68 rating, a Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 chipset, which as per Samsung is made for Galaxy, which just means higher clock speeds for maximum performance, 12 GB of RAM, 256 or 512 GB of UFS 4.0 storage, Bluetooth 5.3 and NFC. It also comes with USB Type-C 3.2 for fast data transfer. It is also great for gaming. The stereo speakers create some immersion to gameplay, and the crisp graphics will keep you engaged. The S23 Ultra obviously comes with the S Pen, the fun addition to the Galaxy series, allowing you to take notes, sketch your surroundings, and also some other gestures. My favorite being the control it gives you over the camera app. Without having to touch the phone, you can have it go from the rear camera to the front-facing camera, change between photo and video, zoom in and zoom out, just have some fun. Because that's something that's still there with the S23 Ultra. It's a powerhouse of a smartphone, but it's also the best all-rounder. Looking great at a board meeting, and also looking stylish at a concert or a fashion runway. Samsung has come out the gate swinging for the fences. The Galaxy S23 Ultra, though a small upgrade to the S22 Ultra, is still an amazing beast. The new camera sensor is an improvement, giving you better options for photos. It also has an amazing screen, good battery capacity, and is feature-packed. All this backs the S23 Ultra a stupendous 9.5 handy score. And with that, I can confidently say that the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra is the new golden standard. Shout out to the team at the Samsung Experience Store Clearwater, and if you've made it this far, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. You can also check out my reviews of the Galaxy A53 5G and Huawei Nova 10 SE linked here. Until the next video, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, our time is up.